the USS John F. Kennedy CVN-79. But here's the catch. She was supposed to join the fleet years ago. 2018 was the plan, then 2020, then 2022. The delivery is now estimated to occur in March 2027. Let's just say patience is part of her DNA. Why the delays? Was it money, hardware, or maybe the Navy's secret strategy to keep us guessing? Behind every rivet is engineering, legacy, and the Kennedy name itself. Let's take a closer look.
CVN-79 is the second Gerald R. Ford-class aircraft carrier built for the United States Navy. Authorized by Congress in 2008 and under construction since 2015, this vessel is intended to replace the aging Nimitz class, which had defined naval warfare for over 4 decades. If the Nimitz class was the flip phone, the Ford class is the smartphone. The Kennedy? It's the iPhone Pro Max of warships, with software that's still being written. The name of USS John F. Kennedy wasn't chosen lightly. It was the subject of debate, almost like a contest of American memory. At first, some wanted to call her Arizona, in tribute to the battleship lost at Pearl Harbor. Others pushed for Barry Goldwater to honor the fiery Arizona senator. But in the end, the sea had the final word. On May 29, 2011, the Navy announced she would carry the name of John F. Kennedy, the young president who once braved the Pacific as a naval officer in World War II. Now, his name adorns a ship that can carry 90 aircraft, including F-35C Lightning IIs, the most advanced stealth fighters on Earth. CVN-79 now follows in the wake of the earlier USS John F. Kennedy class, CV-67, becoming the second carrier and the third Navy ship tied to the Kennedy family.
USS John F. Kennedy stretches longer than the Empire State Building laid on its site. 1,092 feet of nuclear-powered determination, steel, and ambition. Weighing in at around 100,000 tons, CVN-79 is a powerful symbol of American naval supremacy. To stand on her flight deck is to experience something surreal, a 4-acre expanse that hums with readiness, large enough to fit the US Capitol building. Beneath your feet, thousands of compartments, galleys, sleeping quarters, weapons base, and mission control centers form a labyrinthine world in motion. Over 4,000 sailors and air crew will one day live and work aboard this ship, a population the size of a small town, navigating oceans on a nuclear pulse.
As the second ship of the Ford-class supercarriers, Kennedy is the direct heir to the innovations trialed on the USS Gerald R. Ford, CVN-78, and she is shaping the DNA of those that follow, most notably CVN-80, the future USS Enterprise scheduled for delivery in 2030. Unlike her predecessors in the Nimitz class, CVN-79 integrates cutting-edge tech with lessons learned. From upgraded electromagnetic launch systems, EMALS, to advanced arresting gear, and redesigned island structures, every weld and rivet carries the weight of refinement. At the core of CVN-79 is a pair of nuclear reactors so powerful they can drive the ship for 25 years without refueling. Yeah, a quarter-century of continuous operation, regardless of gas prices, supply chains, or geopolitical instability. This design supports an impressive 50-year service life, during which the ship will undergo one major midlife refueling and overhaul. It's like building a race car that can run across 5 decades with just one pit stop.
Of course, you can't build a floating nuclear airbase with a few welders and a blueprint. Constructing the CVN-79 has supported tens of thousands of skilled jobs across the United States, making it both an economic and a military engine. According to reports from Huntington Ingalls Industries and the US Navy, more than 2,000 suppliers in 46 states have contributed to the construction of the Ford-class carriers. The Kennedy was built using a technique called modular construction. This method means faster builds, tighter quality control, and lower costs in the long run. Imagine building a 100,000-ton warship like stacking enormous pre-outfitted Lego blocks. The largest of these, the island superstructure, was installed in 2019. This tower stands above the flight deck, housing radar masts, command centers, and a maze of integrated systems already wired for action.
On most carriers, the island superstructure is like the ship's brainstem, housing control centers and navigation. But on the Kennedy, the island has undergone a revolution in real estate. Redesigned and now more compact, it's positioned further aft than on previous carriers to maximize aircraft movement on the deck. Next, let's talk more about technology. It's hard to imagine a gigantic warship hiding, but the Kennedy was built with stealth in mind. Specifically, a reduced radar cross-section, RCS, is a key innovation in survivability. Through angled surfaces, radar-absorbent materials, and minimal exposed equipment, the Kennedy is less visible on enemy radar despite its gargantuan size. It's not invisible, but in the age of precision-guided munitions and long-range detection, being less detectable can mean everything. Instead of steam catapults, which feel like launching jets with a sledgehammer, EMALS uses magnetic pulses to launch aircraft more smoothly, putting less strain on planes and allowing the launch of lighter drones or heavy fighters alike. Designed to recover aircraft more safely and with greater control, AAG enables more frequent launches and recoveries. This boosts sortie generation rates, a key metric in combat readiness, by 25% over Nimitz-class carriers. Automated weapons elevators, AWs, move munitions from deep magazines to the flight deck more quickly, safely, and with fewer crew members, freeing sailors for more critical operations. There were early hiccups, yes, but they've since been resolved. These elevators fly vertically at high speeds, quietly and reliably. No cables, fewer moving parts, less maintenance, and faster turnarounds.
Built with cutting-edge aviation systems, the carrier is fully compatible with the F-35C Lightning II, a stealthy, radar-evading jet that can see and strike before it's seen. But the Kennedy doesn't stop at manned aircraft. She's also designed to operate the MQ-25 Stingray, an unmanned aerial refueling drone that can keep fighters in the sky for hours longer. And more is coming. Since the architecture of CVN-79 is modular, it is flexible enough to accommodate future autonomous aircraft we haven't even imagined yet.
With advanced simulation systems, including virtual reality environments and immersive digital models, crew members can walk the corridors, operate machinery, and respond to emergencies from anywhere in the world, even from a classroom in Pensacola or a simulator in San Diego. It's standard practice now. Traditionally, an aircraft carrier runs on sheer manpower. The Nimitz-class carriers, warhorses of the US Navy, operate with around 5,000 personnel. But the USS John F. Kennedy is rewriting that playbook. Thanks to automation, digitized systems, and smarter design, CVN-79 is constructed to operate with 600 to 900 fewer sailors, which means billions of dollars saved in salaries, food, training, and housing over the ship's 50-year service life. The ship may train its crew with cutting-edge tools, but it also takes care of them in ways previous generations could only dream of. Gone are the days of endless rows of bunks stacked like sardines. The Kennedy introduces enhanced privacy, with improved living quarters that give sailors something previously unimaginable on older carriers: space to breathe. With more individual lockers, better soundproofing, and redesigned berthing areas, the ship offers its crew a sense of home, even in hostile waters.
Once completed, USS John F. Kennedy will call Naval Station Norfolk, Virginia, her home. This is no surprise. Norfolk is the beating heart of America's East Coast naval operations and the largest naval base in the world. There, she will dock beside giants and legends, standing ready for rapid deployment. Her presence in Norfolk will strengthen the Atlantic Fleet, serving as both a deterrent and a frontline force, depending on the winds of global conflicts. And now, the 13 billion question. Why so expensive?
The USS John F. Kennedy carries a price tag north of $12.8 billion, a staggering figure that makes it one of the most expensive warships ever constructed. But every dollar has a destination. Advanced radar, electromagnetic aircraft launch systems, EMALS, nuclear propulsion, stealth integration, the list goes on. Still, the cost has raised eyebrows in Congress and beyond. Also, the journey wasn't smooth. CVN-79 faced delays, cost overruns, and technical issues. Its updated projected cost is more than $13 billion, making it one of the most expensive warships ever built. Supporters argue it's a national security investment. Critics call it a symbol of military excess. What do you think? The story of USS John F. Kennedy is one of patience, persistence, and legacy. She was initially expected to join the fleet in 2018, but in 2009, Secretary of Defense Robert Gates slowed her schedule, placing the Ford-class carriers on a more fiscally sustainable path. Delays ensued, and by 2012, the Navy was already considering a delivery date as far off as 2022. Her keel was laid in 2015 at Newport News, where Caroline Kennedy left her initials welded into the hull, binding family history to the vessel's future. 4 years later, in 2019, her construction reached completion and she was christened, again by Caroline Kennedy. In the years that followed, she began to demonstrate her capabilities, testing electromagnetic catapults in 2022, combat systems in 2023, and conducting live deck trials in 2024. Yet, despite these milestones, her final arrival continues to move further down the horizon, now set for March 2027, reminding us that ships of this scale are as much about endurance as they are about strength.
Her first deployment? Still unknown. But one thing is certain. Wherever she sails, the world will notice. If this story has you hooked, don't stop here, because we've got plenty more tales of ships, history, and secrets that lurk beneath the surface. Which one will you dive into next?